I don't know which party my wife belongs to, but she belongs to my kitchen and my living room and the other room.
Stay in tune with politics on 32 FM 94.9.
Good morning, welcome to the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Good to have you join us on the show this morning. Now, the race to 2027 seemed to have started in earnest, even though we're just about 2 years away from that big election year in the political landscape of Nigeria. We're seeing the gathering coming together of political bigwigs across different political parties, across different zones of the country to form a coalition under the auspices of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Their goal, according to them, is to rescue Nigerians and take power from the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. It has thrown up a lot of debate and conversation across the country, with many people expressing, excitement about the possibility that lies ahead in 2027. They say, look, it's going to make the race more competitive. Some say it's even good for democracy, as it takes away the threat of a one-party state that some have been talking about in the country. For others, they say, well, it's just a gathering of, according to them, disgruntled politicians who feel dissatisfied with the way power has been shared in the current administration, or those who were in the former administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. We're talking about former governors, former ministers, former lawmakers, even the former Senate President David Mark, who has been unveiled as the interim chairman of the new coalition under the auspices of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. For the PDP, well, they say it's time for them to regroup and reunite, having sent away, according to 𝐂𝐈𝐒𝐿, those responsible for the internal squabbles of the party. For some, they have not even resigned their membership of their respective political parties. They say they will remain member of their political party while, supporting the ADC in 2027. Another point that Nigerians have made is the fact that those who hitherto criticize certain politicians or certain elements, brandishing them as structure of criminality or bigot or whatever, you are seen in the same political gathering now, which buttresses the point about no permanent enemy, no permanent friend. Is the interest of politicians that matters to them at the end of the day. Let me play you this clip, the voice of David Mark, while he was speaking at that official unveiling of the ADC just a few days ago. Take a listen.
Who believe that they deserve better, who have been promised so much and given so little, for whom renewed hope has turned to renewed hopelessness. This is your coalition, and we welcome you all to join us and be part of this historic rescue mission. This coalition is determined to offer Nigerians a path to security, prosperity, peace, and progress. Coming from various party affiliations, we are united in our resolve to present a constructive alternative to the hardship, insecurity, and waste that have become the hallmark of the current APC government. As we proceed this day, we acknowledge the practical implications of imminent by-elections and one state governorship election for some of our coalition partners in their respective legacy political parties. However, all of us remain firmly united under the ADC banner for the 2027 general elections and beyond. After extensive deliberations and discussions, which spanned several months with deserving platforms, the coalition has decided to adopt the African Democratic Congress, ADC, as the vehicle for this historic journey. Having adopted the ADC, we commit ourselves to building and transforming it into a strong political party, not merely to win another election or even for another electoral vehicle, but as a fortress and platform of our revived democracy.
Yeah, of course, David Mark there as the unveiling of that coalition There was also Engineer Varek Bachelor, former governor for Osun State, a close ally initially of President Bola Tinubu when he was in Lagos. And of course, former Minister of Interior, Muhammadu Buhari. There was also Rotimi Amechi, former Minister of Transport, former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who also served as a minister at some point during the Obasanjo administration. Quite a number of big wigs in that coalition. The APC say, well, they're not breaking a sweat regarding this. PDP also say, well, it's those who are causing internal squabble in their party that are moving out right now. Even the ADC presidential candidate in 2023, Dumebi Kachiko, does not seem to agree with those with this gathering, saying they're just coming to hijack the structure of this political party. Let's begin the conversation now. Let me bring in Professor Remi Ayede, Department of Political Science, University of Ibadan. Prof, good to have you. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Great to have you back.
Pleasure being you in this program.
Yes. And then Barrister. Barrister Yomi Ogunlola. Barrister, good to have you. Good morning, sir.
Yes, brother, good morning.
Good morning.
And a wonderful morning, noble Prof. Of course. Good morning, Nigeria.
Yes. Okay, so I just want us to quickly touch on this before we go to our first guest, and then we'll come back to it as well, because this is like the biggest topic in the country at the moment. Let me start with Prof. There's a lot of conversation this has thrown up. First of all, some say it is, a bit similar to what played out in 2014, pre-2015 election with the emergence of the APC, Buhari, and of course the eventual ouster of the Jonathan administration. Let's look at the dynamics, Prof. Are they the same in terms of what propelled that coalition and the kind of characters that came together at the time to form the APC and what the ADC is trying to do now? What are you seeing here in terms of the similarities of the events that played out then and what is playing out now?
Well, I don't think there's any similarity because if you look at the way the APC came to be formed, there were people from PDP, the NPDP, that there was a breakaway faction of at least 5 sitting governors. Then you have the CDC, the Buhari group, and then of course the group from Tinubu, which was the core of the APC at that time. And if there was a schism within the PDP, I think that was a very fundamental aspect of what transpired at that time. In this particular case, we don't have a schism within the APC. So the APC is firmly under the control of the president without any major division. What we have is people, sitting governors from PDP defecting to APC. The only similarity is really that there's a major movement of stalwarts, of big politicians into the ADC, but not a significant member of them are are in power. And then you also see a situation where they are leaving the PDP because the party cannot hold together. So there's really no alternative party that you will say, okay, they are coalescing in terms of those who are currently in power. And I think that's the major difference, because if a number of governors, for instance, from PDP, from APC made it to the new coalition, then of course you will know that they have split the APC from its seams and weakened it substantially. We don't have that kind of scenario. And it was unfortunate, really, that Jonathan allowed that to happen at that time, because it was very obvious and ominous that there was going to be a problem. But in this particular case, we have these politicians who have, many of them have contested presidential elections, they have failed, and they don't have many sitting governors backing them. In fact, one of the major player in the PDP, which is YUSUF, is firmly under the supporting the APC. So I don't think there's a parallel between there's really a parallel between this one and what happened in to 2015.
2015. Okay, let me go to Barrister now. Barrister, very quickly, looking at how things are unfolding now, as Prof has analyzed, it looks like the dynamics are different compared to 2014, 2015. So what do you think are the main issues that lie ahead of this coalition? The various hurdles, because there are people who have identified these hurdles for them both internally and externally. The biggest challenge ahead of this coalition.
Yes, thank you very much. Sincerely, I do not see, in terms of content, any difference between what we are having now and what we had prior to 2015. Perhaps a difference in their modus operandi, or better still, the mode of formation. But the intention is the same, to dislodge what is perceived as an unworking government. And I think that to disregard the alliance or to regard it as a pascue may be an error on the part of the APC, even though I will not encourage too much optimism, because the individuals that are at the head of the alliance are people who are well known to Nigeria, people who have contributed, as a matter of fact, immensely to the existing rot. But Lee Kuan Yew emerged from a corrupt environment, but made the changes that have brought Singapore to where it is now. In other words, what I am trying to say is there is always an allowance for a sinner to repent. If that is the intention of those who are coming to form this alliance, so be it. Even though I am not that optimistic. I have said this somewhere else, that to me, when you see thieves chasing thieves that have just succeeded in a raid or a loot, more often than not, it is not to recover the loot to the owner. Many times, it is to make arrangements or agreements to share the loot. And in this case, Nigeria, the unfortunate victim, is the loot. But let's wait and see how things unfold.
All right, Prof, final one before we go on this break and move on to our guest of the day. There are those who talk about the biggest challenge is, coming together of this party first. They scale that first, although the second one would be the issues that they will look at before presenting a presidential candidate, a running mate, because, a lot of permutations that will be made. There are some who would even say that perhaps we should try what happened in Ghana, where John Mahama made a comeback. Maybe Goodluck Jonathan could give it a run, in 2027. Again, this is a permutation, and 2 years is a very long time in politics. A lot of things can still unfold. But what are you seeing here as a possible hurdle ahead of this coalition?
There are two major hurdles. The first will be how they cohere and work together, because they have a common cause. That is true in terms of removing and replacing President Tinubu in 2027. That's the major cause. But the problem is who will be their presidential candidates? Will the identification and the emergence of a presidential candidate not lead to a split within the party? Then the second order is that they have a sitting president they want to seat who is not naive, who is a natural politician, who will do everything to dislodge them. Will they be able to withstand, the machinations and schemings of this president leading APC? I think these are major hurdles.
Okay.
If they're able to do those two major hurdles, then there will be a chance for them.
All right.
But in terms of issues, there are many issues on the ground, certainly. But you know, the irony of it is that they are part and parcel of of those responsible for the current state of things.
Right.
So it remains to be seen how they are going to exonerate themselves and people Nigerians.
Yeah,
okay, we need to go on the break, Barrister. We need to go on the break.
Say something true. Perhaps when we come back.
Okay, we'll take a break. When we come back, you finish your line of thoughts and we'll go to our guest for today to continue the conversation. Remember, the program is The Podium on 32FM 94.9. We're live on Facebook, 32FM 949. Drop your comment, share, and like the video. We're back in a moment. Don't go away.
You're listening to 32FM 94.9.
When you chop better breakfast with the new Peak Dairy Creamer, your belly go full. Full belly means say morning waka go well. When morning waka go well, it means say your day go good.
Oga, this new Peak Dairy Creamer, now the same with Peak Full Cream?
No, Peak Dairy Creamer na from skimmed milk for tea and coffee only. While the Peak Full Cream milk na ogbonge milk from cow's whole milk.
Taste breakfast goodness with the new Peak Dairy Creamer at 130 Naira only.
Peak. Reach for your peak.
If person ask you say, wetin be the game where they totori you pass, you go tell them say na better know all the time. No go dull yourself make you follow join for the ogbonge betting options, fast cash out, missions wey dey engaging and get welcome bonus wey fit reach 200,000 naira. Better know the game don't start. Make you dey bet responsibly. Now only for people wey don pass 18 years. Better know na proud partner of Aston Villa.
Àmàlà dúdú, àmàlà funfun, àmàlà tó fẹ́lẹ́ bí etí, ní ṣàwéwédú tó yọ̀ kólólò, ọ̀rẹ́ ìmùlẹ̀ gbẹ̀gìrì, pẹ̀lú ẹran tó muta, káàsà. Ilé eléyìí o. Ẹja ọsàn. Ìlú Ìbàdàn àtàgbègbè rẹ̀. Àkókò tó láti gbélú Ìbàdàn lárugẹ ṣàfihàn àwọn ohun àdámọ̀ rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú oúnjẹ aládìídùn fara lókun sararindin.
Ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ ọ̀gọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ènìyàn lábẹ́ àtíbàbà kan ṣoṣo láti jọ fà wọ́n ọbẹ̀ aládùn búkà jamọ̀là pẹ̀lú àwọn iléeṣẹ́ àfijù olóúnjẹ tó gbajúgbajà nìbàdàn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń jàmàlà látún máa sọ̀díwúkẹ́ dọ́wẹ́kẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn adẹ́rìnpòṣónú láyìíká tó rẹwà. Àwọn ìdíje wọ̀nyí ò ní gbẹ̀yìn. Ta ló lè yára jẹ̀sùn àmàlà bàkìtàn láàrin ìṣẹ́jú péréte? Ọkùnrin wo ló lè ro àmàlà kó kúnná bí etí? Ṣẹ́yìn lè yára jàmàlà gbígbóná láì fi falẹ̀. Ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn ẹ̀bùn tó jọjú tún wà nílẹ̀ fáwọn olùkópa láti fi ṣèfàjẹ́. Ẹ̀yà ọjọ́ 23 oṣù kẹjọ ọdún sọ́tọ̀ láago 2 lè tó gbéra sọ ní pápá ìgbàlejò ti Recreation Club tó wà lágbègbè Sabo Àdámàsìgbà Ìbàdàn. $2 náírà lówó tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì tẹ́ fi jẹ̀gbádùn yọ̀tọ̀mí. Láti kópa ẹgbà tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì yín ní 32FM àjàkẹ́rin Cocoa House Dùgbẹ̀ Ìbàdàn. Tàbí Bíbíire Food Canteen Òkè Àdó. Ìyá Ọ̀yọ́ Food Canteen tó wà ní Ìjókòó Adánlágbárimú Ìbàdàn. Àwọn iléeṣẹ́ tó so nígbàwọ́ àyájọ́ àmàlà níkànnì 32FM 94.9. Iléeṣẹ́ ọtí Rega Dry Gin. Iléeṣẹ́ ohun ìsebẹ̀ Terra Oníkóró. Pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ àwọn ilé ìtajà oúnjẹ tó yáàyè bíi Bíbíire Food Canteen. Ìyá Ọ̀yọ́ Alámàlà. Fún àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ tàbí láti jẹ́ onígbọ̀wọ́. Ẹ̀lú Bímpé 0806-218-5194 tàbí Captain P2 0802-258-8193. 32FM Àmàlà Fẹ́. Àjẹdọ́wẹ́kẹ̀. Ó máa dùn. Ó máa lárinrin.
ọ̀rẹ́ mi tí ń bẹ nílùú òyìnbó sọ pé àwọn máa ń ra ẹlẹtíróníkìsì wọ́n sì máa sanwó ẹ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀ bí wọ́n ti ń gbowó lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ ṣùgbọ́n ní nàìjíríà wa yìí ó máa gba 20,000 naira wọ́n sì máa retí pé kó kó 500,000 naira wà lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà láti fi ra nǹkan bó bá fẹ́ ra tv náà ó máa tówó jọ bí ẹni dọ́jọ́ ìgbéyàwó sọ́nà.
àlàyé farabalẹ̀ ṣé o ti gbọ́ nípa CDK ni.
ó dé o CDK kí ni.
níbẹ̀ lèmi ti ra fóònù ọwọ́ mi tó ń wò yìí fìríìjì washing machine home theatre tí mo sì ń sanwó díẹ̀díẹ̀ kódà kò ní owó èlé kankan iye tán sì ń tà lọ́jà gan-an onímúra.
irọ́ o ṣé lóòótọ́ wọn ò fowó kankan kún kẹ̀.
ọ̀rẹ́ wa n ò fowó kankan kún kódà gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tí mo rà lọ́dọ̀ wọn ni wọ́n ti gbé fún mi tí ì sì tí ì sanwó mi tán tí mò ń sanwó mi díẹ̀díẹ̀. ọ̀rẹ́ wa kí ló dé tó ń yọra rẹ lẹ́nu ǹjẹ́ ló mọ̀ pé pẹ̀lú CDK o lè ra àwọn nǹkan èlò inú ilé tó sì máa sanwó díẹ̀díẹ̀.
download CDK báyìí lórí Google Play Store tàbí App Store.
CDK, making life easier.
Win 20,000 naira daily with Cocoa Box and 32FM. Partnering with 32FM 94.9, Cocoa Box offers you a chance to win 20,000 naira daily with just 500 naira. Here's how to play. 1. Dial *347*253# and follow the prompts. 2. Indicate the number of times you want to play. 3. It generates a one-time account number for payment. 4. Make payments via your bank app, USSD, or visit a nearby POS with generated account number. Important, the account number is valid for a few minutes and for that specific transaction only. Please note that if you don't complete the transaction on this generated account, you won't be able to create another one. Increase your chances. Play multiple times to boost your odds of winning. Draw schedule. Raffle draw 9:30 a.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and 5 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. Every week, 32 people will win 20,000 naira each. 8 lucky winners daily, each winning 20,000 naira, and 3 people will win 100,000 naira every Friday. Get started. Dial *347*253# now and win big with just 500 naira.
When it comes to media sabi wonder, I been at that kind of feeling wey go make you shout like this. No be juju be that. Fluximation production be the baba. Event coverage where they make memories live streaming wey smooth like 5G Pro Max.
Fluximation production.
From Euro O1 straight to millions of screens across Nigeria and beyond. I been at Ubunge commercial shoots or even documentaries. Fluximation production dey for you. You be content creator, make we help you cook better content. We get better podcast studio fully equipped to tell your stories. Shey you dey look for better padi for that your film production? We gallant full ground on top YouTube with a sample bold ideas and content with the inspire. Every week, just go on top YouTube, search for Fluxi TV and subscribe to use any of our media services. Make you call or WhatsApp 0907 993 8783. Visit www.fluxitv.live for more information.
ìṣẹ̀mí ẹ̀dá kún fún onírúurú ìpinnu látòrí ibo ni wọ́n gbé ta ni kí n fẹ́ àti kí ni wọ́n jẹ gan nínú gbogbo àwọn ètò wọ̀nyí. Ohun tó dára jù ní kí èyàn ó yàn rè. Ó yá wá yìí jẹ́ kájọ ní gbólóhùn lórí ìpinnu ìdókòwò dídókòwò pẹ̀lú iléeṣẹ́ tí ń bá ní ìtalẹ̀ Soft Sand Property pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ iléeṣẹ́ rédíò 32FM 94.9 ṣeéṣe kó jẹ́ ìgbésẹ̀ tí ó dára jùlọ nínú àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tó ti gbé sẹ́yìn pẹ̀lú àwọn ọgbọ́n àtinúdá wa lórí ilẹ̀ wa bíi Orange Estate tó wà ní Ìdó, Mango Estate tó wà ní Àkúfò tó fi mọ́ Banana Estate tó ń bọ̀ lọ́nà ní agbègbè Omi Àdìó. Èyí gan ni jókà tó lè yí ayé ẹni padà sí rere. Sátìpè tàbí fi àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ sọwọ́ sórí àwọn ojú òpó pè yìí 09115550055 tàbí 09164615000. Bákan náà lè kàn sí ojú òpó ayélujára wa www.softsandsproperty.com fún àlàyé ní ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́.
32 FM
94.9.
Welcome back. The Podium on 32 FM 94.9. Don't forget you can chime in on the conversation anytime you want on our Facebook page, 32 FM 949 Fayette. Okay, so Barrister and Prof, I think it was Barrister that wanted to make a final point on the issue before we go.
Yeah.
We'll continue with the program. So Barrister, please.
For me, there are two hurdles ahead of 2027 elections, and that is INEC and the judiciary. If Tinubu and his team must leave Aso Rock, then those aiming to dislodge them must make it impossible for anyone or group to snatch, grab, and run away with the people's power. This they can do if they can flatten INEC by making it impossible for the umpire to introduce glitches again. This they should do by ensuring that the 9,000, is it 400 or thereabouts, council wards in Nigeria are properly policed to such an extent that their victory or loss is obvious, that not even the court will be able to, find the usual things with them.
Right.
I believe those are the two hurdles ahead of 2027.
Okay. All right then. So let's move away from that. But we'll still come back to it in the other segments of the show because it's the biggest issue in the country at the moment. But now let's pivot back to the southwest Nigeria. We'll talk about the current crisis in the local government administration of Osun State. We have Mr. Musiba Adetumbi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, joining us on the podium this morning to help us break it down. Thank you so much for joining us, Senior Advocate. Great to have you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, our listeners.
Yeah, and of course, as you know, we have panelists on the call already. Professor Remi Ayede, Political Science, University of Ibadan, Barrister Remi Ogunlola, your legal, how do you say it now? Your learned colleague, yes. Let me put it that way. Your learned friend, yes. Okay, that's fine. All right then. So let's begin with your recent interview, or was it a statement that you made regarding the crisis, wherein you described the directive by the Accountant General Federation to transfer local government allocation in Osun State to the APC Secretariat, according to you, as politically motivated and unlawful. So could you, elaborate on this further so that we can understand, where the directive came from and why the APC Secretariat in the state?
Well, we all know that this country, except we don't want to be fair to ourselves, we have not been able to move forward. And until we are ready to be honest with ourselves, we will not be able to move forward. This issue is simple. Prior to the time Oyetola left Osun State, he conducted local government election, precisely on 15th October 2022, when he was to leave around November 22nd. He conducted the election, and according to them, APC officials won. That's not a crime. That's not a problem. Some people that felt that it ought not to be, they went to court. Two parties particularly, PDP and APP. PDP, the two of them won at the Federal High Court. And that election was specifically nullified. Those elections were nullified. And specific order that everyone that was elected on that election should vacate. They appeal, that is the APC, appeal the two judgments. They appeal the PDP victory, so also the APP victory. On getting to the Court of Appeal, and at the Court of Appeal, in the PDP victory, the Court of Appeal said their originating summons was defective. Let me break that one down. When they filed their processes, their originating summon at the Federal High Court, the electoral law, the electoral law for some state then, immediately they filed was repealed, and another one was passed. They couldn't have challenged a new law with an old originating summons.
Okay.
Yes. You don't christen a child a name until you've born. That's when you do a naming ceremony. So you don't do a naming ceremony before you give birth to the child. Since that law had been repealed, the proper thing would have been for them to withdraw their suit and file another one. They made that technical mistake. And the Court of Appeal pointed it out. Now, in pointing it out, the Court of Appeal struck out their originating summons. For me as a lawyer and not as a politician, it would have been proper for the Court of Appeal to say, well, go back to your...
Are you saying that because you led the legal team, you led the state legal team in all of this?
I led the state legal team for PDP and mostly for the state.
Yes.
And so what I'm telling you now that for me, as a lawyer, I would have expected the Court of Appeal to say, okay, go back. But they didn't say that for reason which I wouldn't know. They now look at their prayer that they should be allowed to go back and declare it as being an academic exercise. Anything an academic exercise, you cannot enforce it. That was where the first problem started. APC is saying we have won.
Yes.
We wanted to enforce this victory. No, that could not be.
So before APC, when APC said they had won, they wanted to enforce the, victory. Do you, in good conscience, feel like the PDP should have gone ahead to conduct their own election on the 22nd of February, in which all PDP officials actually won that election as well? Was that not creating another layer to that problem?
No, not. In good conscience. Conscience is an open wood.
Yes.
PDP, the government of that day ought to have conducted the election.
Even with the controversy that was still brewing over the status of Oyetola's chairman.
They should have conducted the election. Do you want to know why?
Okay.
Now, there's still a judgment by APP, a victory by APP, where the election was expressly nullified. That is number one. Number two, even that judgment.
But there was a Court of Appeal judgment at Kure Division, that the APC hinged their victory on. That's when they conducted that election in the first place, towards the end of Oyetola's tenure.
the judgment, there are now.
Yes.
There are 2 judgments from the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
You know that?
Yes.
The judgment you're talking about was the judgment of February 10.
Yes.
Election was conducted on 22nd of February. The judgment of February 10 is what we're referring to. In the February 10 judgment, they said your originating summons is defective and it was struck out. Notwithstanding the striking out of that originating summons, you still have a judgment on ground, a federal high court judgment which nullified that election and which its appeal was no longer even pending then at the Court of Appeal Akure. Because they refused to pursue that appeal, the appeal had been struck out for want of diligent prosecution. So you have 2 orders that nullified the election. One was said to be defective. One was not found to be defective. So the government will not say, because one was defective, don't let us conduct election. In fairness, the election...
So they just went to the polls 12 days after that, February 10, 22nd, to conduct their own election.
Remember that they've given 1 year notice now. They've already given 1 year notice. Why the APC election was set aside is that they refused to give 1 year notice. Everybody here agreed. PDP came in November 2022.
Yes.
They didn't conduct the election immediately because they had to give 1 year notice. They set up an OCEC and 1 year notice was given, which that is the position of the law. It was towards the tail end of that 1 year that crisis arose, that judgment came. It's not that they just woke up and said, because Court of Appeal said this, we're conducting the election. No, that's not correct, my brother. They had earlier given their 1 year notice. So it was towards the tail end of that 1 year notice that the problem arose. And they now said, oh, no, you ought not to conduct the election. And mind you, the PDP that lost at the Court of Appeal now went to a high court and said, we are supposed to conduct the election. There's still 1 judgment left. The high court said, fine, it is true. You still have vacancies. You ought to conduct the election.
But don't you think all the multiple cases that the legal teams have been filing is what has created all of this confusion? Because, as you are trying to track, even as journalists, as you're trying to track a ruling of a maybe appeal court, there's another motion filed at the high court, all kinds of motion creating confusion. Even the ruling itself sometimes is so ambiguous for people to understand. Do you think that's what is creating all of this confusion? Because as it is now, workers in the council areas are staying away, based on the directive by Norgay, regarding this crisis. So there's a deadlock, in that state because of all of these multiple cases.
My brother.
Yes.
You see, we've not learned anything. And it's very doubtful whether we are going to learn anything. We started from the point where we are now. I had cause to say it in the course of our judgment. Move back to Adegboro and Akintola, where this problem started. The matter went to the court. Not so? Now, from the High Court of Western Region, referred to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court gave it its judgment, 2-1. Brett, FD as they call them, gave a dissenting opinion. The then CJN, Adetokunbo Ademola, and one of the other justices, I've forgotten his name now, they gave majority judgment. But remember that then, our constitution says, our constitution provided that the final court then was the Prefect Council. Adegboro moved to the Prefect Council. Prefect Council gave him judgment. The very day that the Prefect Council gave him judgment, the National Parliament came together and they amended the law. And they said, as from today, the final court will be Supreme Court. Who are you going to blame? Will you blame the court or you blame us?
Some will blame you and your learned friends. Let me go to your learned friend, Barrister. Barrister, you have the floor.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Let me welcome my brother and friend. Myself and Musbao were courtmates at IFE.
Wow.
So I welcome the learned Sikh to our program this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Toba.
Yes, sir.
There are some explanations that the learned Sikh was trying to make. It would have been most appropriate to allow him to make, his submissions on those cases that he was trying to highlight the genesis of this problem before we come in. I crave your indulgence for
All right then. So let's go back again to the judgment, because as I was asking you, it looks like the judgment created confusion with the appeal court division in Akure that the APC was hinging on, and then your judgment came in February 10. The current government just went to the polls, did election 12 days later. We now have two sets of chairmen, should I call them that, who are laying claim to be the legal occupants, so to speak, at the helm of the various local councils in Osun State.
I was trying to tell you something.
Yes.
When no judgment did not create any confusion. Just like Olaruntimi said, that the problems are not with the gods, but with ourselves. When they got to the Court of Appeal, I told you they had two judgments.
Yes.
The two judgments nullified the election. No doubt about that one. Nobody's arguing that one. The February 10 election, they said this originating sermon was defective. It was struck out. Then that was where the argument came in. And I've told you, I'm talking between me and my God as a Nigerian now. That I would have expected the Court of Appeal to grant a consequential order. But the Court of Appeal did not grant that consequential order. You cannot on your own amend the judgment. Rather, the Court of Appeal said this prayer that will return you to the council has become an academic exercise. That is an error of law to be taken to the Supreme Court by APC in a Senate claim. It's an error of law. Which ought to be taken to the Supreme Court. But rather than taking it to the Supreme Court, they said, no, this judgment has given us the power to go back to the local government. Other than assumption and mischievous interpretation, nothing like that. But now, I now told you that there's APP judgment.
Okay.
Now, the APP judgment equally nullified the election.
That's Oyetola's election?
Yes.
All right.
It nullified every one of them. Now, based on the APP judgment now, which nullified the election, the appeal was not pursued on about, I think it was 13 January. It was struck out. Now, the APC that claimed that, the judgment against PDP had given us judgment victory. We are now the chairman. They went back to say, we intend to release this appeal. We want to release this appeal. We want this appeal to be taken. Hear us on merit. If they had gotten another, we had returned them back to that place.
Okay.
So why would they go back? Yeah. Now, dealing with that judgment, Court of Appeal now said, no. You came late. You've violated all known equities. You've refused to pursue this. You refused to do that. And that court now made a categorical pronouncement that, look, election had been conducted and that election stands.
Okay. So the alarm you raised is basically stemming from the fact that, if I want to understand you correctly, with the body language of the federal government, it looks like they are, supporting the local government chairman that emerged during Oyetola's election, and they want to transfer the funds to those local government chairmen instead of the chairman that you represented in all of these legal battles. That's the alarm you raised.
Yeah, that was the alarm I raised.
Yes. I
remember that letter was directed to the APC secretariat,
right,
not state secretariat.
All right.
APC headquarters. As long as we refuse to follow our law, as long as we refuse to be fair to ourselves, and as long as we refuse to be honest, I'm not a politician. As you said, I led the legal team.
Yes.
But I'm a lawyer. I'm not a politician. I've told you that the fault I saw in the first judgment, which I felt ought to have been corrected, which was not corrected. But as long as we continue to believe that law does not matter, we have nowhere to go in this country.
So on what basis did you challenge Oyetola's local government election at the time?
They did that even before I came in.
Okay.
But the basis is that Oyetola people, the OSEC then, refused to give the required 1 year notice.
Okay.
Recently, Supreme Court nullified River State election on that basis. Not long ago. Even not just a few months ago. So Oyetola people refused to give 1 year notice as required by the National Electoral Law. The law has been settled that your state law, you must follow the federal law in the terms of notice. Supreme Court has said that. So to follow it, they must give 1 year notice. Remember that Oyetola lost election in July.
Yes.
Yes. It was then that he realized that he should conduct election.
But he had not left office.
Yes, he could. But what I'm saying,
he had not left office, so he was still.
He had lesser time to comply with the law. That is the problem. He had just about 6 months, and the law required him to give 1 year notice. So how could he have complied with the law? Except you want to bend the law. He bent the law and it backfired. Nobody is contending. If the notice had been given long ago. Ajimobi conducted the election.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
And when he conducted the election, when Governor Seyi Makinde
there was a long legal battle here as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Remember, I participated effectively in that long battle.
Yes.
You remember that one?
Yes.
When Seyi Makinde came and he dissolved it, the state paid their salaries because the election was properly conducted.
But the issue lingered. The issue lingered for a while before the money was paid.
But at the end of the day, the state paid. And they won. Those people won. So the elections will have been conducted. Oyetola was there. Things that ought to be done should be done properly. Let's tell our politicians.
Okay.
They are destroying us.
I don't know if Barrister is ready now, or Prof. Hello, Prof.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Prof. Yeah.
You see, the real issue that we have is that many governors don't regard the law. And in this particular Osun state, I don't think what we are facing is a similar kind of situation. But what we are facing is really a conflict between an APC in charge of the federal government and the PDP government in the state level. And they are having this conflict over the control of local government. Don't you think that it is 2027 that is behind this crisis around local government in Osun State?
Yeah, that's for you, yes.
Oh, it's for me?
Yes.
Sir, well, I started with one Yoruba language, that in Nigeria, you may be correct to say 2027, but whether 2027 or not 2027, the greed of our politicians, our inability to follow our own law. I gave you the example of Adigberu and Akitola. Our refusal to play the game the way it ought to be played. That is the problem. That is the fundamental problem in this country. And what is the essence of it? It is the greed. Everybody is looking for. The power must be acquired by fire, by force. You must get the power by fire, by force. Look at what is happening. Look at the area where the presenter first pick you up. What are the surrounding circumstances? No, what are the surrounding circumstances that has led us to where we are now? So, if you are looking at 2027, one may be correct to say, well, why would the APC government, the federation, say, okay, money should be paid to APC chairmen, even when there is no express order to that? And when would the federation refuse to comply with the Court of Appeal judgment? The latter judgment said clearly election had been conducted, and that election remained. So why? It's just like the way a manner we refused to comply with the Prefect Council judgment. Rather than comply with the Prefect Council judgment to allow Adigberu to be, we said no, we amended the law, even when the ball had entered the net. And we paid the consequences. We wasted so many lives, unnecessary civil war. But the major problem, my own headache, is that the people at the aim of affairs, these so-called leaders, they're not the ones that are bearing the consequences. Common man are the people bearing the consequences. Gowon, just like I said in one of my interviews, just celebrated 90 years. Mrs. Ojukwu is now the current Minister of
State Foreign
Affairs.
Yeah.
After wasting so many lives in an unnecessary civil war. I read so many books about that civil war. There's nothing worth fighting for. I think people will sit down now. People will sit down now and be asking themselves, one north. Do we have one north now? Power in the north. Biafra must go away or this. Who is better? Is there anywhere in this country where the common man can say, yes, I have a life? There is nowhere where the common man can say, I have a life. They're just using us to play chess. So,
as you said, the monthly accreditation already has been withheld, by the federal government until all of this issue is sorted out. That's where the common man comes in, in terms of, how this affects the running of affairs in those local governments. So, Barrister?
But sorry, let me say one thing.
Yes.
But in that area,
yes,
let's give us state government credit.
Yes.
Because notwithstanding that, the salary of those local governments are still being paid.
Despite the fact that the funds have been withheld. Yeah.
Mm.
Barrister?
Yes, thank you very much. Leonard Silk.
Yes, my brother.
Your numerous submissions on the imbroglio in Osun.
Yes, sir.
Particularly with reference to the local government elections.
Yes, sir.
I want to believe has opened the eyes of Nigerians to the illegalities that is being perpetrated. It is so unfortunate that we call ours democracy, yet one of the pillars is being jettisoned. As a matter of fact, the major pillar that sustains democracy, which is the rule of law, is being jettisoned by our politicians. From your submissions, it is clear, as a matter of fact, crystal clear, that today the APC conducted local government elections has nothing to stand upon. The elections conducted by the PDP has to a great extent the support of the law. Now, the Attorney General of the Federation, with the information you have granted us, has written to the APC Secretariat for review of the local government. Sorry, the Accountant General of the
Federation.
What are you doing about this? Are you going back to court to rectify that? Because there is a substantive law that directs the Accountant General of the Federation to make those payments into local government accounts. Please, I want you to clarify this area.
You know, my dear brother, the popular Supreme Court judgment of local government autonomy. You know that judgment said money should be paid directly to local government.
Yes.
With the exception of Osun, where an attempt was made to pay to the local government, I stand to be corrected. But no state has any money being paid directly to the local government as we speak. I don't know whether that is going to be done tomorrow. I don't know, but not any state. So when the crisis arose in Osun, and the Federation wanted to tilt towards APC, that was when they wrote to the APC chairman to say, go and open accounts in the CBN. They wrote a letter to them. So we did everything possible. We went to the Federal High Court. Initially, we even took them to Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And then when we filed our applications at the Supreme Court, I said they held on to our money. They filed a reply to say, no, we have been paying to APC, to the APC-led officials, even when they've not paid a kobo to APC-led officials. As soon as they said that, and CBN and Accountant General were informed, my brother will realize that you cannot take CBN and Accountant General to the Supreme Court. So we quickly filed another one at the Federal High Court to say, no, you cannot pay. There's a judgment that I've sacked these people, you cannot pay to them. It was in the course of that argument that they wanted them to open, that they now wrote a letter. They wanted them to open an account. They directed that letter to the Secretariat of APC in Osun. So when we got a copy of that letter, we made noise. Because already we were in court. We discontinued the case in Supreme Court. After the judgment of the Court of Appeal, we said clearly that the election conducted in Osun, that the election conducted by this PDP by Adeleke is in order. We said that one clearly. You know, if we must not deceive ourselves, all these governors, when they conduct election, no state, including the Mr. President state, has ever been able to conduct any reasonable election in local government. Because an election that you conduct and no party except your own party is going to win the election, we should rather be crying rather than to be celebrating.
But PDP also cleared Adeleke's own election.
That's what I'm not taking anybody out.
All right.
But in law, except you go to the tribunal to challenge that election,
yes,
the election conducted by Adeleke stands.
Right.
Because they gave their 1 year something. Although I, as a person, will be wondering why elections will be won by a single party. But that is possible.
Okay.
In law, you have to go to the
challenge the result.
To challenge the result.
Right.
So now when the APC made that, after that judgment of the Court of Appeal, in fairness to them, they head on to the money. They didn't pay it to APC again, at least to the best of my knowledge.
That's the AGF and the Central Bank.
AGF, Attorney General of the Federation and Central Bank.
Yeah.
They head on to the money immediately, because when that judgment came out, we published the judgment. We told us so, published the judgment, and they did. They publicized it in about 4 papers. As the Noge, remember that the Noge in Osun and Noge at the Federation came out that, look, you cannot tell the chairman, because the letter written by the Attorney General of the Federation said, either treasurer or director of this or director of this. It's an indirect way of telling them, go and look for 2 people, and with yourself as a chairman. Financial practice demands that political head, they don't sign. They are not signatory to account. No governor is not a signatory to any account. Likewise, Mr. President, why would you ask chairman to be signatory to the account? But that letter from account said, chairman and just maybe treasurer. The implication is that go and recruit anybody as treasurer. Go and recruit anybody as director of finance. Remember that those staffs were not cooperating with the APC officials. So they now say wanted them to recruit. But after that judgment, they stop it. After the judgment of the Court of Appeal, it has been stopped. What is going to happen next?
Yes, Barrister.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Let us assume that they wanted to open an account with the CBN.
Yes, sir.
Under what name would they have done that when they are not a recognized entity in law?
You know, my brother, we're not running, except we're deceiving ourselves. So we're not running our country by law. Let's be sincere with ourselves. We're not running our country by law. It's very doubtful. We're running our country by might. I said something one day. I said when Obasanjo was the president, Obasanjo was PDP, PDP was Obasanjo. Today,
that's correct.
Today, President Tinubu is APC. APC is President Tinubu. So we have nowhere to go except we are deceiving ourselves. Every governor, you see, the way I look at this country is this. There are 2 categories of people in this country, the masters and the servant. The masters are Mr. President and the governors. Mr. President is the chief master in this country. The governors are the masters. Every one of us, anybody, whether you're a minister, whether you are whatever you
even a senator,
whether you are a senator, we are all servants in this country. You may have chief servant too. And
among the servants, there are also chief servants.
You can have chief servant, maybe the Senate president, or maybe because you may. When I thought about that, I asked myself a question: how about the Chief Justice of Nigeria? I said, well, anybody who will know the way and manner Onoge was kicked out, Onoge CGN, will know that you can't call him a master. So we are not running our country by law, because ordinarily the civil servants will be the one. The accounts will be open in the name of local government, and civil servants will be the one that will be there. But in a situation where you have an Accountant General of the Federation sending a letter to the headquarters of a political party in a country where you have law, then you ask yourself, what is the essence of that law?
Right. So what steps are you taking? I remember the Oyo State issue, as I said, lingered for a while. There was a time they explored an out-of-court solution or negotiation or whatever political solution to the problem. In fact, when there were pictures on social media that Governor Adeleke and his nephew, the superstar, visited the president, there are those who said that maybe went there to perhaps negotiate or seek the intervention of the president. You are the one leading the legal team. Are there, other legal or negotiation options they're exploring to, at least resolve this problem? Because right now the funds are being withheld. The local government workers are staying away and what have you. Despite the fact that, as you said, the governor is paying the salaries, but I mean, this is an impact on how the local government areas are being run.
So others have to wait.
So do you think, are you exploring, different options to solve this problem?
I believe the government is doing that. I strongly believe that government is also talking to Mr. President, and maybe they will at least let him see reasons. If you are to talk of law and judgment,
yes,
the final judgment came in favor of the Court of Appeal last judgment, came in their favor. So if the Federation will not comply with that judgment, the state is helpless. So
are you going to the Supreme Court, or because you went to the Supreme Court before, you withdrew your petition because of what had happened at the court, High Court?
No, at the Court of Appeal.
At the Court of Appeal, right?
The Court of Appeal had made a clear provision.
Yes.
They had pronouncement. Sorry.
Pronouncement, yes.
They've made a clear pronouncement. So there is nothing to go to Supreme Court to go and do again. Remember that, as I'm talking to you here, we have a criminal case of 2017 in Supreme Court. We are not expected to just go and occupy space in Supreme Court. If we are a country of law, no. So if we want to go to Supreme Court, ordinarily, even from what the letter even if they are to be in the office, they are to leave in October. October will be the end of their tenure. If not,
that's if the Oyetola men were to.
Yes, October.
So this October.
Yes, this October.
Yes.
But because of the court nullified it, they had no tenure. They don't have anyone. So because that thing had been nullified. So if we had gotten a judgment from the Court of Appeal, it's better for us to be appealing that judgment should be complied with than to say we want to go and disturb the Supreme Court.
So now you're just hoping that the federal government will comply.
Well, we're hoping
with all of this.
Yes, we're hoping.
Yeah, and looking at all of these issues that have come up, and how different states have tried to hurriedly conduct elections. What's your assessment of that pronouncement regarding local government autonomy? Because it was something that the AGF, Lateef Fagbemi, pursued. And when it eventually happened, he said that it was, going to be an impeachable offense to any state governor to try to divert LG funds and what have you. What's your assessment of that pronouncement generally in the context of how it seemed to have thrown up a lot of issues about how local government elections have been conducted? Suddenly, the state governments that have not conducted elections before are now, conducting elections rapidly. In fact, local government elections are now very competitive. I think in Lagos, they are doing theirs in this July or thereabouts. It was a highly contested primaries within the APC itself as well. So what's your assessment of it? Maybe it has made the governors and local government chairmen sit up properly.
The Honorable Attorney General of the Federation,
yes,
is an Igbo, is our guy, is a very senior man, is a very excellent person. With profound respect, I disagree with that judgment. In that judgment, we have a dissenting opinion of 𝐒𝐈𝐄. 𝐒𝐈𝐄 gave his own dissenting opinion. This judgment,
and you agree with that dissenting opinion?
I agree with the dissenting opinion. This judgment appear to me to just be politics. Why does it look like politics alone? Now, when that judgment came, the Supreme Court was the one that said, no, comply with this judgment immediately. So many states, some states, maybe like about 15 or less than 15, they didn't have elected chairmen, including Rivers.
Yes, they quickly went to.
Rivers was one of those states that quickly went to conduct the election. Because of the crisis between Wike and Fubara, that matter had to travel to Supreme Court. And on getting to Supreme Court nullified that election. Which means that if others that already conducted their election had been challenged, those things would have been nullified. So that means that judgment is faulty. Because that judgment was the one that said you must comply immediately. So the Supreme Court appears not to have looked at the provision of 1 year law, which they now look at when they came back to Rivers election. That is number one. Number two, when you mentioned the people that are already conducting elections,
yes,
tell me in one of the states where any other political party won. And today, tell me in any of those states that the governor is still not controlled of that money. Tell me a single state that governor are still not, that a governor, it is not the governor that is still controlling that money. So I don't.
So you feel like the judgment, because there are people who said that, yes, this is what we need. It's going to let development cascade down to the grassroots level. This is the independence, the autonomy that we've been talking about for the local government area, that's what we need.
And you're a journalist. You've told me about several states that have got to college. Go and tell me a single one that the governor is still not in charge. That's not the one controlling it.
Let's go to Barrister now. Final round of questions and comments before we let him go and move on to the other segment. Barrister?
Yes. Leonard Silk.
Yes, sir.
I do agree with you with respect to the Supreme Court judgment for the local government autonomy. I was having a discussion with a couple of my friends a few days ago when I saw the portrait of Yahya Bello with crutches, in court. And a few days prior, he was celebrating one of his new baby cars that they just bought. And I was asking myself, are our judges and justices isolated from their immediate community? Because ordinarily, they ought to be seeing what is happening in the land, particularly the Supreme Court, which is supposed to be a policy court. So, my question is this: did the Supreme Court not avert its mind to the provisions of the Constitution that allows the state and the House of Assembly to have or play a role in the governance of local governments when it made its decision with respect to autonomy for the local government?
Well, my brother, if you ask me, just like I said, I'll cast my lot with the judgment of 𝐒𝐈𝐿. I won't cast my lot with the judgment of the majority. A section of that constitution, well, I think maybe 164(5) or so, provided expressly that the local government money must be distributed by the House of Assembly. Although, in all the 30 states of the Federation, the governor is the House of Assembly, the House of Assembly is so. But that is the provision of the Constitution. So, the Supreme Court overlooked that. Then there's a provision. They explained the provision which says money should be paid into joint local government account. That one was explained. They said if it is paid to joint local government account, it's meant to be taken to local government so that they can ask them to take it directly to the local government. But the Supreme Court is the apex court of the land. Now, how about the provision which says the House of Assembly should be the one to distribute it? Because the implication is that it is the Federation that is now going to distribute the money. And what's out for one thing? They went to court, the Federation went to court to say, yes, we must give money to elected local government chairmen. In Rivers State, are they giving money to elected local government chairmen? Before Supreme Court even dissolved that, they nullified that election, they refused to pay Rivers State money. As soon as an emergency was declared, and they put their woman there, and their woman, in fact, within 3 or 4 days, they released local government money to him. And the man was the one that nominated who are the chairmen of the local government. So the Federation is behaving as if the interest of the Federation is to render all the states useless and to take the money, the fund, to ensure that they do not even have the fund, to take away their fund so that 2027 will be very easy.
Right.
You know, if you look at what is playing out, 2027 is going to be a tough. Although Mr. President appears to be, just like somebody said, that he will give him A1 in.
They call him master strategist. That's what they call him.
Yes.
Master strategist.
It's master strategist.
Yes.
But it's to remember the Yoruba adage.
No, I think the one Daniel Smith is trying to remember is that he has A1 in politics.
Yes.
But
F9 in government. Yes. And Mr. President will do well to remember that Yoruba people say, 𝐷𝐿
Right. Okay. Let me go to Prof now. Final round of question, Prof, as we wrap up this segment with the senior advocate.
Yes. Concerning this local government issue, I think it is not just about the Supreme Court judgment. It's about the general way, whether governors or presidents behave. Because if you want to sustain democracy, everyone must play the game according to the rules or by the rules. Now, if there are no rules, what will be left of the democracy? Because we are talking about 2027, must every politician now hijack the process or seek to hijack the process in order for us to get to a point where they will come to their senses? Or is there any means of bringing them to recognize that the approach that has been taken by the president, grab it, run with it, will not work well in the long run? Are we going to get to a 2027 that will be riddled with violence?
Sir, the first thing that in answering your question, I want us to agree with us. We are not playing by the rules. We don't have rules. We have jettisoned our rules. If you ask me, I will tell you that there's only, our constitution has just only one section and 2 subsections. I will tell you that the first section 1, subsection 1, 1 subsection 1 says, thou shalt not be poor. Section 1, subsection 2 says, thou shalt not offend the powers that be. That is the way, whether at the federal level or at the state level, that's the way we have been playing our game. Thou shalt not offend the power that be. Mr. President is totally in control. Law is not in control. It is Mr. President that is in control. And that was what happened in the First Republic. We ran into problem. Second Republic, we ran into problem. Even with the military, we fought them because we said they had no respect for the rule of law.
Yeah.
But here, let us be sincere with ourselves. I'm not a fan of opposition. I'm not a fan of any one of them. Because if you make Aregbesola, who refused to pay people's salary in Nosun, and they were calling him Baba Afusa, father of half salary, you made him the secretary of an association, and you're telling me that I should cast my hope on that association. I won't deceive myself. My father, who they would call a stark illiterate because he was not educated in the English form, had warned me that if everybody is deceiving you, don't deceive yourself. So I won't deceive myself. I will not cast my. But look at what is happening now. Even INEC cannot register political parties. Even this opposition, they are finding it very difficult. Even the ADC that they said they have gone to, some people are already kicking. And say, it is illegal. Before you know it, that they will head in court. And before you know it, now the court will pronounce that no, it was done illegally. We are looking at a situation where only APC will be on the ballot in 2027. Everything seems to be going to that place.
Right.
That's the way it looks like.
Right. Okay, thank you so much, Senior Advocate, for joining us on this segment of the podium. So, Barrister, we're wrapping up. Yes, we're wrapping up.
Yes, sir.
There is something we do here. We try to make you laugh before you go.
Yes, sir.
As a therapy for the times.
Yes, sir.
So let me make you laugh. Are you ready to laugh?
I'm ready to laugh, sir.
He's laughing already.
I'm already laughing, sir.
Yes.
Yes, so your birthday was a few days ago.
Yes, sir.
We celebrated you on social media and every other medium available.
Yes, sir.
But unfortunately, RSVP no dey there. You know what make we chop out of this money?
My brother, say, when we are doing this kind of, we are in the same trade now. And say this money now, in the hand of politicians.
But election cycle is coming, so I mean, that's the season, post-election season. That's season for lawyers,
We'll get our own.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mosiba Adetunbi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, joining us this morning on the podium, talking about the LG crisis in Osun State. We'll move away from that now. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll go to another segment of the show, which Prince Dirodemi, a chieftain of People's Democratic Party, PDP, will be joining us to talk about the coalition, what it means for his party, the PDP, ahead of 2027 election. To stay with us.
Thank you, my brother.
All right, Honorable Diodemi joins us now as the chieftain of People's Democratic Party, PDP. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the podium. Good to have you this morning.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
Yes.
And listeners.
Yes. Okay. As you know, of course, it's a panel discussion. We have Professor Remi Ayede, Professor of Political Science, University of Ibadan, with us, and Barrister Remi Ogunlola is also here with us as well. So they will be asking you questions and also making comment as the conversation progresses. So let me start off. Of course, the biggest issue in the country at the moment is the unveiling of the new coalition under the auspices of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. They say this is a new strategy aimed at reshaping the political landscape of the country out of 2027. They say they want to rescue Nigerians from the APC. Let me ask you, what's your assessment of this coalition? Are you a part of it, or do you still remain in the PDP?
Thank you very much for this question.
Mm.
I want to make it clear that I, Dion Odeyemi, will never leave PDP. If there is any reason for me to leave PDP, then I will not involve myself in Nigerian politics again. I have no reason to sleep overnight as a PDP member, wake up in the morning to say I'm joining any political party. Having said that, yes, the coming together of some Nigerian politicians to form the ADC is a good development for democracy, especially at this time when there is no credible or no viable opposition to see to the misgovernment of APC. So it's a good development that they are coming up.
Mm.
But on the other hand, I have my reservation about their coming together. One, I don't see them as coming together in the interest of an average Nigerian or a Nigerian electorate. They portray themselves individually and collectively as group of people who are aggrieved either in PDP, in APC, or in other political parties. And if you look at the personalities, the question is, if you are coming up to say you want to rescue Nigeria, from who to who? These are the people that have been this, that. Senate leader, former governors, former ministers, former party shiftings, and all of them. Who spoiled Nigeria to this stage? What has been your role when you were in government or when you have that power? If you are now saying you want to rescue from bad situation that you created, and I want to believe, some people even said the ADC, the right name to call them is Atiku Disciples Congress. If you want to report it, they always say Atiku-led coalition.
Yeah.
By the time Atiku was leaving PDP, he didn't inform anybody, he didn't resign, he didn't tell anybody. But we knew within PDP that Atiku still has this ambition to become the president of Nigeria.
But how big of a blow is his exit to your party, as a political party, the PDP? How big of a blow is his exit?
I want to say that we are happy that he is leaving.
You're happy?
He has been the cause of the crisis in PDP. Let me tell you this.
Okay.
During Jonathan's era, Atiku led new PDP to abandon Jonathan's second term. They went to form another political party. They colluded with APC to enthrone Buhari. And don't forget, during that time, almost 27 governors gave their support to Jonathan. But what came out of it? What it shows is that the more you see, the more you look, the less you see. Jumping ships or supporting or throwing their support towards you now does not translate to electoral victory. That's why I pity Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu too. Because if you force people to join you, if you throw the carrot at them, at the end of the day, if they are not sincere about it, the result will be there in 2027.
But Atiku gave you.
But let me continue about Atiku.
Okay.
This is not the first time Atiku will leave political party because of his personal interest. And when he left, this Atiku, when I say Atiku is the cause of the crisis in PDP, I know what I'm saying. I'm involved.
Okay.
When Atiku left, Wike was the one that was taking care of the party. He took care of the party to an enviable position that, if we had zoned our presidency to the south, anything could have happened. But when Atiku and the likes of Tapo and all of them rushed back to PDP, they overwhelmed Wike, and Atiku again became the candidate. Since then, even when when he emerged as the candidate, that was the time he was supposed to have exhibited the leadership traits of how to manage crisis, the leadership trait of how to manage a political party, how to manage individuals. He personally went to Wike's house after losing the primary. That he will compensate him with the position of the vice presidency. Wike did not agree. I know what I am saying. I can be quoted. I know I'm speaking live on the radio.
Yes.
Wike turned the offer down and instead nominated Donald Duke. But the people who are supporting Wike said, no, the offer is for you. It's not for any of our members. So you have to take it. They president of Wike that he should take it. Wike said, okay, go and talk to your people. Let me talk to my people. Then we'll come back together. Before you know it, when Atiku got back to his people, the likes of David Mark and Tambua and all of them, Bukola Saraki, they said, no, you did not know how we deliver this candidacy or this election to you. We all stepped down because we knew we were going to occupy certain positions. Bringing in Wike means Wike's people will have to share in this arrangement. They have already constituted the government among themselves. The federal, the executive to the federal government, the Senate president, this and that. They have already decided the position. And instead of Atiku to come back to Wike and tell him or give excuses, he did not return to him. What came next was just the announcement of Okowa. Does that show a good leadership trait? Even at that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even at that.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Wike was still pacified. You don't have to destroy this fight. We don't have to fight. Let's look for another way. Then another formula came up. The North cannot be the candidate. The North cannot be the party chairman. The North cannot be the presidential campaign manager. What is the position of the South in all this? So, right. Just to balance the equation,
yes.
Let IU resign and let's choose a chairman from the South. They refused.
Right.
Was that not the crisis that we are still battling with today?
Right. But
So when you are talking of Atiku, you are talking of problems with PDP. Yes. So if he leaves, we are not going to miss him.
Okay, in due conscience, which one constitutes a bigger danger to a political party? Someone openly working against a presidential candidate of his party to support an opposition and working in a ruling party government as a member of opposition party, or somebody who decided that, look, I'm no longer a part of this, I'm forming a coalition to unseat this ruling party that has, according to them, unleashed hardship on Nigerians. Which one is ruining his party more between those examples that I gave you? Because there are those who say it was Nyesom Wike who openly worked in favor of the APC to emerge at the federal level, and he's also working within the APC government as a PDP member. That you cannot have somebody doing both and claiming to love his political party. That a true party man will stay within his party and resolve the crisis.
When warning precedes a war, a good soldier will re-strategize. Awifunikoto Dani Baba Ijakadi. Wike has a reason to say, I am not going to work for this party because of this reason. He said it openly. He didn't say, I'm not going to work for the party. He said, because of this, or if this is not done. That is the difference. If this is not done, if these conditions are not met, he's an open politician, and I like that kind of a politician. I like that kind of a statement. It was the party, the PDP, that offended Wike. Let me put it that way. Because we have a constitution. After 8 years of the North, whatever is the strategy, rotation comes back to the South. If you now say Buhari, after spending 80 years, you are presenting another Northerner, you have discountenanced your own constitution.
So is it fair for Wike to be working in the government of the ruling party as a PDP member? Because you said that Atiku did not form the party before he joined the ADC, he didn't resign. So is it fair also, should Wike have resigned as a PDP member before accepting the position in Asiwaju's government. Yes, go ahead, sir.
You are a journalist, and Wike has explained this severally. I know it myself. When Wike was offered that position, he contacted the people in his ward, in his local government, and the states, contacted some governors, contacted the National Working Committee of PDP. And they all said, take it. Go and work. There's nothing wrong there. There is precedent for this kind of an arrangement. The village did not work in Obasanjo's administration. We are talking of Nigeria. We are not talking of political party again. This is government. And he said he went there on the advice and support of the party. And another thing, we can reveal something which is still in my head, that even the president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, requested for names of all politicians in the state from opposition parties so that he could give them certain positions. That virtually all the governors nominated people for positions in Asiwaju's government. So what is wrong? What are we saying?
Right. Please, let's take a short break, sir. Honorable Dino Deyemi will be back in a moment to continue the conversation. Remember, you can join us live on Facebook, 32FM 949 Fenye, to be a part of the conversation. Drop your comment, like, and share the video. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.
You're listening to 32FM 94.9.
Every day when my children return from school, I don't recognize them. Hello, do I know you?
It's us, mommy.
But these dirty, sweaty uniforms and socks, we're clean in the morning. Everything don't transform. I understand though, school is hectic. It takes energy to come home this transformed. So I make sure they have some nutritious Milo at breakfast.
Your kids need nourishing energy. Give them Milo at breakfast. It has nutrients that support energy release to help them get the most out of their day. Milo, energy to go further.
32 FM News. First, we're telling real stories.
We air stories from the perspectives of the people. Stories that our people can relate with.
In news delivery, we are fast, objective, and accurate.
We're all about changing the narratives by telling underreported stories and bringing those behind the news to your doorsteps.
At 12 noon and 4 p.m., we will continue to bring you comprehensive and factual news at home and across our various social platforms.
The stories you need to keep up with, from community news to sports, business, politics, and a lot more.
32 FM News, first with telling real stories. Life is a series of decisions, from where to live, who to marry, to even what to eat. As you navigate these choices, we hope you've made the right ones so far. Now, let's talk about making a smart investment decision. Investing with Soft Sands Property, a leading real estate organization in partnership with 32FM 94.9, could be one of the best choices you'll ever make. With our innovative estates like Orange Estate in Ido, Mango Estate in Akufo, and soon Banana Estate in Omiadio, you have numerous excellent options. Partnering with Soft Sands Property could be the game changer you need. Call or WhatsApp 0911 555 0055 or 0916 461 5000 or visit www.softsandsproperty.com for more information. Soft Sands, created to house the world.
Jẹ́ 20,000 naira lójoojúmọ́ pẹ̀lú Coco Box àti 32 FM. Ìkànnì 32 FM 94.9 pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ ilé-iṣẹ́ Coco Box ní ó fi àǹfààní 20,000 naira fún wa láti máa jẹ lójoojúmọ́ pẹ̀lú 500 naira. Bó o lẹ́ẹ̀ ti ṣe jẹ́ àkọ́kọ́ ẹ lọ tẹ *347*253# lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbáraẹnisọ̀rọ̀ yín èyíkéyìí nẹ́tíwọ̀kì tẹ́ bá ń lò ẹ fi iye ìgbà tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ tà sí. Wọ́n send account number tẹ́ ẹ lè lò lẹ́ẹ̀kan péré sí yín. Ẹ sanwó pẹ̀lú backup yín USSD àbí kẹ́ ẹ ṣàbẹ̀wò sí POS tó súnmọ́dọ̀ yín yẹn pẹ̀lú account number tó ti wà lọ́wọ́ yín. Èyí ṣe pàtàkì ìṣẹ́jú díẹ̀ péré ni account number ń fi lè ṣiṣẹ́ ó sì wà fẹ́yìí tẹ́ ẹ ta yẹn nìkan. bẹ́ẹ̀ bá kọ̀ láti sanwó sórí account number wọn yóò ṣàdínàgbò òkú fún yín látún ti ta lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i. bẹ́ẹ̀ ti ṣe ta tó pọ̀ sí ni àǹfààní ṣe wà ń bẹ̀ fún yín láti jẹ. aago 9 àbọ̀ lówùrọ̀, aago 2 ọ̀sán, aago 3 àtàago 5 ìrọ̀lẹ́ látọjọ́ ajé Monday sọ́jọ́ ẹtì ọjọ́ Jímọ̀ náà máa yí koto. ní gbogbo ọ̀sẹ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ èèyàn 22 ni yóò mọ gbógun ẹgbẹ̀rún 20,000 naira. èèyàn 8 ni yóò mọ gbógun ẹgbẹ̀rún lójoojúmọ́. èèyàn 3 ni yóò mọ gbọ́gọ́rùn ẹgbẹ̀rún 100,000 naira lọ́jọ́ jẹ́ ti ọjọ́ Jímọ̀ ẹ̀yin náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí kẹ́tẹ̀ *347*253# kẹ́ẹ̀fì 500 naira péré gbàgbẹ́mù lórí Coco Box àti 32 FM ó ti pọ̀ jù.
Ibadan, are you ready for a delicious celebration of culture?
Let's try this. Ibadan, are you ready for a mouth-watering time with the city's favorite dish?
Hey, Ibadan!
32 FM Amala Fest is here!
Join over 1,000 people under one canopy, savoring hot abula prepared by your favorite vendors. Enjoy sweet music, hilarious comedy, and a serene atmosphere.
Get ready for exciting Amala competitions, including smoothest Amala preparation, fastest hot Amala eaters, most wraps of Amala eating. There are many gifts to be won.
Mark your calendars. Date, Saturday, August 23rd, 2025. Time, 2 p.m. Venue, Recreation Club Open Field, Sabo area, Adamasingba, Ibadan. Ticket, 2,000 naira only. Includes a hot plate of amala, drinks, and more.
Grab your tickets and participation forms at 32 FM 4th floor Cocoa House, Dugbe, Ibadan. BB Ray Canteen, Okeado, 𝐼𝐻𝐼 Food Canteen, Ijokodo, Adanla, Baremu, Ibadan. Call Bingpe on 0806-218-5194. Captain P2, 0802-258-8193.
Amala Festival is proudly sponsored by Regal Dry Gin, Terra Seasoning Cube, and partnered by BB Ray and 𝐼𝐻𝐼. Don't miss it.
Mrs. Adeniyi, báwo ni o?
Ẹ wo, a ti ṣe tèmi ó bùṣe, a ó máa tẹ̀síwájú lọ́la.
A jẹ́ kó dàárọ̀ ńgbà náà.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí n bá yín sún síwájú díẹ̀.
Kìràkìtà ìdá nítorí àti lànì bí a bá wá ṣiṣẹ́ látàárọ̀ dandan ní ká darí sílé ìyànjú lásán làgbẹ̀ kúkú ń gbà Ọlọ́run ọba nìkan ní jẹ́ kí ṣòó ta bí o bá wá ṣiṣẹ́ tó tó ń darí relé kárìn kápọ̀ yíyẹ ní yẹ̀yàn ṣé nínú ọkọ̀ aládàáni lẹwà ni àbí nínú ọkọ̀ gbòòrò orí ọ̀kadà lẹwà bí àbí nínú márúwá bó bá sì jẹ́ rédíò kan alápàmẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ní bẹ lọ́wọ́ tẹ̀yìn tẹ̀ sójú ẹ̀ ní 32 FM 94.9 kí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ Délé Ìjìnlẹ̀ Délé Akínbọ̀dé.
tó Délé Akínbọ̀dé Délé Ìjìnlẹ̀ lórúkọ mi èmi àti àjọ máa pàdé lórí ìkànnì yìí ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Monday Tuesday Wednesday àti Thursday láago 6 sáago 7 ẹ wo fàájì yẹn má mi ìsì ẹ̀ ní lẹ́yìn iṣẹ́ ká lè láwọn kọ́kọ́ tá a máa dìbò.
láàrin agogo 6 sí 7 ìrọ̀lẹ́ láti ọjọ́ Monday títí di Thursday níwọ̀n ìgbà tá a ti gbẹ́sẹ́ mọ́rí látòórọ̀ tá a sì fẹ́ fún ọpọlọ nísinmi ohun tó kù náà ní ká gbọ́ orin àti àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tí fúnni nírètí ọ̀la lẹ́yìn iṣẹ́ lètò tuntun tẹ́ ọ̀ máa gbádùn rẹ̀ lórí ìkànnì adẹ́nipòṣónú 32 FM 94.9 ọmọ tó bá ṣiṣẹ́ déédéé ńkọ́ tó bá tún jà ládùn kò léèwọ̀.
ọdẹ má ti gbòógì dán sóko.
àṣejù ní ká gbé sí rédíò mi 32 FM ti wà òkè.
Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back to the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. We're discussing the current issues of a coalition and the unveiling of the African Democratic Congress ADC. What it means from the perspective of the PDP. We have Prince Dion Deyemi joining us on the show this morning. Is the former Deputy National Public Secretary of the PDP, chieftain of the party, as a matter of fact. So let's move on to our panelists now. Let me start with Prof. Prof, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Odeyemi. From the accounts given surrounding the individuals that are tearing apart the PDP, it seems that the crisis in the PDP have no end in sight, and the PDP is likely to be comatose for the 2027 election. Do you have an alternative view or suggestion on how the PDP can be woken up?
Yes, I have an alternative view, sir. Number one, we have two pillars. I can call them two pillars of PDP that are fighting themselves. And the unfortunate thing is, virtually all the leaders, the NWC, the BOT, the National Working Committee, are sharply divided among these two gladiators. That is Wike and Atiku. Now, Wike, we have nobody to fight again since Atiku is leaving. Or let me say, Atiku has left. It's like, if you double me, I wicked you. So, Wike, Atiku stopped his presidential ambition. And to him, he has taken a revenge, a good one at that. The mistake the party made was that they didn't apply this internal mechanism to deal with the issue, both from the presidential race from the presidential contest up to the time we lost that election. And they allow the crisis to fester. Now that Wike and Atiku continued this crisis after the election, because according to Wike, Atiku is still nursing the ambition to recontest again. And to him, if I have my opportunity, if I have that power, you are not going to get it this time around. And it is good that Atiku realized that now, because from all the internal crisis, there is that evidence that people are on the side of Wike more than Atiku. So when the house became too hot for Atiku, he decided to leave the house and prosecute his personal ambition elsewhere among the coalition. When it occurred to the party that Atiku has left or has been open with some politicians regarding coalition, they are now coming together. And that was the reason why the last meeting the PDP leaders held in Abuja came and arrived at a conclusion that rather than Atiku sponsoring one secretary of the party to say, yes, you must be the secretary, and Wike sponsoring another one, especially now that the Supreme Court has given its judgment, let us go by whatever will bring peace to this party and allow Anyanwu to be the secretary of the party. I want to tell you that with that last meeting, by the time you see the second meeting or the next one, in the absence of Atiku, you will know that PDP will come back to reckoning. So that's why I don't agree with you that the crisis will continue. No. The beginning of settlement has commenced with the successful holding of the last meeting, through which Anyanwu, all the warring factors, accepted Anyanwu as the secretary of the party.
Right. Okay. Let's go to Barrister now. Barrister?
Yes. Thank you very much. Now, Diron, I want to ask you 3 questions in succession.
Okay.
A yes or no answer will do. And the first one, from the submissions you have made so far, it appears you are in Wike's camp in PDP. Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. Would I be right to say or conclude that you are also PDAPC? Yes or no?
No, I'm PDP proper.
Okay. Now, the third one, you said Wike approached all the PDP organs before accepting to serve in this government and compiled a list of members who he was going to lobby for appointments. Now, the question, if you are given appointment by the current government, will you accept it?
No.
That will be all for the witness.
Okay, can I?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Number one,
yes,
I am on Wike's side because I was involved. I am one of the people who is not happy with the way Atiku and all of them dumped PDP when we needed them most. Wike was there for us. I was the Deputy National Public Secretary, and I knew Wike was assisting the party. So I dislike the idea of them coming back to dislodge Wike at that presidential election. And even at that presidential election, Bukola Saraki, Tambo, and all of them they were all candidates. And they were allowed 3 minutes to campaign to the delegates. I was there. I was the delegate. When Tambua came, he did his own. And Bukola Saraki came, he did his own. All of them did their own. But when we came onto the stage, the ovation was too loud. And the specific David Mark was the chairman of that Congress. And David Mark was on the side of all these people. It was David Mark who now called all of them, that you have seen the result. Wike had the loudest ovation. If you see going to this election, Wike will emerge. The only way you will know you will not allow him to emerge is if all of you come together to form a block against him. And that by the time they were having that meeting, all the presidential candidates have already concluded their speech. It was now the next thing was now to give us the ballot paper to go and vote. But they said we have to excuse them. They were trying to sort out some issues. That was when they were planning that. At the end of the day, David Mark now announced to us the civil delegates, even though all the aspirants have spoken, but they still want to give opportunity to one of them to speak on their behalf, which normally was the aftermath of that coup. And what happened? Someone now mounted the stage and said, on behalf of all of us that will contested, we have resolved to support only Atiku. So we now beseech all our supporters to vote, to cast their vote for Atiku. That was the turning point. That was the turning point. So I, as somebody who believes in fairness and equity, I saw injustice in that. Not only me, many of us. And that was why I supported YUSUF. I supported YUSUF up to the point of, the requesting for the chairman of the party to resign so that the South can have a say. Then, if Atiku group could say we have already distributed the positions, nothing is going to change. In fact, if we become the president, we are going to probe all of you or whatever. Then why will I not be on the side of YUSUF?
Yeah.
Whether I'm PDP or APDP, what's the reason for that? There's no basis for that. I believe in PDP, nothing more than that.
Right.
And even on the side of YUSUF, I still believe YUSUF is too rascal for my liking. It's too rascal because they are right. But YUSUF is a dogged fighter. I don't support him on that.
Yeah.
Then the third one, that if I'm given an appointment, I'm not an Abuja person, I'm an Oshu person. I've spent 4 years in Abuja and my lifestyle is not that of Abuja. I prefer my appointment in Osun. I'm enjoying it. So if they give me an appointment in Abuja, I'm not sure I'm ready to take it.
Okay. So, I mean, you've said that you're a PDP man, true and true, and you've not left the party. Yes. In fact, you've held a national position, National Public Secretary, Deputy National Public Secretary before. So, where does this put your party ahead of 2027? There are those who say the party has been hemorrhaging since it lost election in 2015. Now, the party is dead and gone. That's what some Nigerians say. In fact, they say that Atiku is the only one that had that, experience, war chest, national appeal to still make the election competitive for your party. But now that he's gone, what is left of your party ahead of 2027? Some people even label him as the Buhari of the PDP, in reference to the kind of weight he can pull. Because in the last election, even though just 20 million people came out to vote, out of that 20 million, he gave your party 6 million, a little short of the 8 million that the incumbent used to win the election, going by INEC numbers. So where does this leave your party? Is it dead and gone?
Now, number one, we have one understanding in this country that we just have to demystify. This is the politics of the elites, or plain politics with the names. We have all these big names that you are mentioning that does not even win the award when it comes to election or their local government. All these big names you are mentioning. Take, for instance, David Mark. Even from David Mark ward, from his ward to the local government, it's not being controlled by PDP now, for God's sake. Kola Ologbondiyan served him. Kola Ologbondiyan, who was the publicity secretary.
Yes, when you were.
I was assisting him when I was there.
Yes.
We used to discuss this among ourselves. You see, we are playing politics of big names. Not that when it comes to the grassroots or when it comes to election, they are in that total control. We have had our Obasanjo lost in his word in this country. So when you are saying Atiku gave us 6 million votes, Atiku has only 1 vote, please. We have 774 votes in Nigeria. Nobody is going to control my vote for me. I will represent whichever position or whichever party in my local government. It is the bulk of all these votes from all these local governments that we bring together that form that 6 million, not Atiku alone. Atiku is just a symbol of the party. And if a symbol is not good enough to win an election for you, there is that goodness and possibility of changing the name or changing the personality. Now, if you now say Atiku has left, let's compare it to football. There are some names in football that you say, yes, without him, the team cannot win. Whereas there are some local boys who can even play better, but the opportunity was not there for them to feature. So leave PDP. PDP is a brand, is a party that is not going to die. I can assure you of that. Irrespective of all the crises, we will still come back together. There will still be some remnants, call us remnants. There will still be some of us who are remnants that are left behind. We will reform the party, and the party will rise again.
And you present a candidate in 2027?
Why not? We present a candidate. Why not? If ADC in the past, if Labour, if NNPC, all of them could present a candidate, how much more a PDP that is a bigger party?
Yeah, but I'm asking,
before 2027,
yes,
you will see the kind of people that will come out to say yes, we want to be president under PDP.
I'm asking this question because the last time we had Chief Dele Momodu here, we asked him the question as well that who does he think? Because people have talked about the current president, his understanding of the game, how he was able to push himself to power from having the ambition since 1992, eventually achieving his aim. That you need somebody strong in terms of experience, in terms of financial might, in everything. And Chief Dele Momodu says it's really Atiku Abubakar that can stand up to him, in 2027. Do you share that opinion? That's why some people are saying that the PDP is as good as gone already because you don't have somebody as strong as Atiku anymore within your party.
Nobody will say his mother is ugly. Nobody agrees to that. So I don't expect Dele Momodu to say anything contrary about Atiku. He was one of the people who managed the publicity for him. So it's the same thing. As for me, if you have been trying or if you have contested for election more than 3-4 times and you are not accepted by Nigeria, even at your age, the next thing is just to put aside your personal desire in the overriding interest of the party and Nigerians and form a credible opposition and nominate or support whoever is being thrown out. Not that it should be me, myself, and I all the time.
But he has a right to contest.
I don't believe in that.
He has a right. Buhari contested 4 times.
No, I'm not talking of right. No, yes. I'm not talking of right. I'm talking of what is ideal. Your right is not may not be logical, may not be ideal. And what I'm saying in essence is there should be a limitation to when ambition should stop. Nigerian politicians should show some level of decency, discipline, and respect for the masses. If I put myself for an election the first time, the second time, the third time, you don't accept me, well, you don't equate yourself to Abraham Lincoln that contested 7 times. Nigeria is not America.
Or Buhari that contested 4 times or thereabout.
Oh, yes. And even at his age, by jumping from one party to the other up to this level, people you think Nigerians don't like desperate politicians. You have so much portrayed yourself as if your life depends on becoming the president of the country. Is it by force? Must you leave one party for the other thinking you become the candidate you can win? Even when the opportunity portrayed itself before you, were you able to make use of that opportunity as a leader? No, I don't see Atiku as a good leader. Go and read what Obasanjo wrote against him. Go and read what Obasanjo wrote against him. He served Obasanjo as advice. Even though after many pleadings, after many approach by Obasanjo, he was trying to retwist it. But we have listened to what his sincere opinion about Atiku.
Right. Okay, you can be a part of the conversation now. 0705 5000 949, 0906 2000 949, 0809 7000 949. That's 0705 5000 949, 0809 7000 949, 0906 2000 949. Facebook 32FM 949 Fenya. We're looking at the new coalition unveiled under the auspices of the African Democratic Congress ADC, what it means for the PDP ahead of the 2027 elections. 0705 5000 949 0829 7000 949 0906 2000 949. Prof, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, it seems the PDP already has a presidential candidate if the PDP is now under the control of...
Please hold that thought, Prof. Please hold that thought, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
My name is Godwin.
Right.
Calling you from India, right? Ibadan. Though I'm not so conversant with politics, but from the hearing of your guest speaking there, it shows a very deep grief in his mind that the reason why Atiku does not go down well with the PDP and him himself. Most of the thing he's saying there is all just against Atiku as a person, not even the party. So it tells you he has this personal grievance against him, which is not supposed to be so. So please let him break it down in a moderate way that we'll listen to him and we'll know from his speech that he's not just talking based on opinion, personally, that he's feeling. Atiku is not better than anybody. Yes, we agree. And then for that reason, and for all these reasons he has been saying, does not make Atiku to say he will not be part and parcel of what is going on. He has right. You have said it already to him. He has right. Contest as many as forgetting his stage.
Right.
Forgetting everything he's saying there, just finding the negativity of Atiku.
Right. Thank you.
They're not Atiku fans, and I don't know them.
Right.
I am just ordinary individual. Right.
Thank you.
So, but
Thank
that
you so
is not
much.
how to.
Thank you. Let's take another one. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, good morning. Please move away from your radio. Good
Good
morning.
morning, sir.
Yes.
This is Joseph from Lungo.
All right, go ahead, sir.
You know, the man who is speaking, he has tell us a lot of things. People blame Wike. This is an eye-opener. If anybody has listened to this, and he doesn't, and even the man even brings that Wike is too rascal, but he has been offended. Like this is what this man explained. He let us know Atiku have been going from AC, from AC to APC, from APC to new coalition. Just going up. And some people have remained in that party. To me, people believe PDP has issues. So PDP, as at the time, these people were living, they have up to 12 governors. When Tinubu was building his party, they have one governor. Buhari has only one governor. But they keep on building on it. You have 12 governors, and you believe you cannot make it. You know, it's inconsistent. Like this man, I like Wike more than before because we are just accusing him. Right. Somebody you went to his house to tell him you are giving him vice president. He didn't ask for it. He even rejected. He even suggested somebody. So, and you people, all what we do is just to blame Wike. If you are in his shoe, what will you do?
Right.
And he not only that, he didn't stop there. He said the chairman of the party, all of them saw it. What stopped Wike from telling the chairman to step down and pick somebody from the south? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's take this one. Hello. Hello.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Mario calling from Greece.
All right, go ahead.
This might be some time because I have to park so that I can contribute.
All right, go ahead.
One is this.
Yes.
Thank God that we are having the formidable opposition in the country. We are now having APC. Unlike some 3 months ago, where we are thinking that PDP will be a formidable force as an opposition. But now, thank God for the APC. Now,
I'm afraid you.
Okay. Because I just to change the mantra. What structure can change we have? Change the current laws that are before the country. That's secondly. Then thirdly, those people that are formed by coalition, they are once in APC. They dine with PDP.
Now they are coming at the thing to come out as ADC to form a coalition. Is that like they are there's no
Wenga Mari, I'm afraid your connection is unstable. Is unstable. But thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so let me go to Prof so he can ask this question, and then we'll be wrapping up gradually. Prof, you were about to ask a question before the calls started coming in.
Yes. I was saying that even that the party is now in the hand of Wike, and Wike already endorsed President Tinubu. So what other candidate is PDP going to be fielding for 2027? Is that not a company already?
Yes.
Okay, can I answer that?
Oh yeah, go ahead, sir.
It is a wrong notion to say Wike is in the hands of PDP. Please, let us put that aside. PDP is not in the hands of Wike. There are too many leaders who are independent-minded, who doesn't give a hoot about who Wike is or what Wike is saying. And I want to tell you that Wike is saying he was going to support President Tinubu. Read 2 minutes to it. You cannot be eating on somebody's table and abusing. Whether you understand that, I don't know. This is politics. The second one is, in politics, 24 hours is a long time. Anybody can change, anything can change. And that is why you are seeing the likes of people leaving PDP unannounced and joining APC or joining whichever political party. It is very hard to read the mass construction of anybody from the face. Even when they say something, you don't have to believe it, especially politicians. You don't have to believe it, hook, like, and sinker. Anything can change. And who told you, if Wike has that opportunity, he will not even contest the PDP against Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu if the opportunity comes, or if he sees the chances as bright. So there are times that politicians will say something as against what they mean. And do you think, as I'm talking to you now, I know many people who cross over to APC for one reason or the other, but are telling the world another reason why they joined them.
Honorable, I mean, let's take this final call.
Are we not in this country where people say,
Oh, okay. So let me go before I go to Barrister. This question. Let me go back to your state. As you said, you are an Oshuman, and you're an Adeleke man as well. Yes. The last time the governor visited the president, he threw up a lot of conversation on social media as to maybe the governor is also about to jump ship to the APC. Because we have seen that movement from your party into the ruling party APC. What do you make of all of those? Are they rumors? I mean, because I know you're very close to the governor, and then he has also distanced himself from the coalition. That's the PDP in Osun State. That's the stance you and the PDP in Osun State are maintaining.
I am telling you, I'm confirming something to you now that we had a conversation with him yesterday around 8 p.m. in the night.
Yes.
That's to tell you how constant we speak. I am now telling you through this medium that we are not moving to APC for whatever reason. So if you have been hearing rumor that we are going to move, we are going to cross, quote me and hear me well that I spoke with the governor yesterday, 8 p.m. in the night, and we still conclude and we still know among ourselves that we are not moving to APC.
But as you said,
take that as my final.
Prince, yes, as you said, I mean, renew me. The governor will be telling you that right now, and it might change. Because 24 hours is a long time in politics. But let me go to Barrister.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me explain something to you.
Yes.
The Adeleke family are so blessed that when it comes to politics, it's never a do or die affair for them. They are not desperate politicians. They are not ordinary politicians in Nigeria that we see.
Right. Let me go to Barrister.
When the governor gives you a word, please take it to the bank. It doesn't change.
Right. Okay, Barrister, final round of questions as we wrap up.
Yes. Deron,
yes, sir.
We have taken so much from your fountain of knowledge. And your submissions, in one of your submissions, you did condemn all the star boys of the new ADC as people who contributed to the rot in the country. I cannot agree any less. Now, how do you assess the incumbent president, his administration, and the APC as a political party? Do you think Nigeria deserves this government?
Thank you very much. APC is not doing well at all, and the president is not doing well. This is why I'm not condemning coalition, really. I'm only saying that if there's going to be a coalition should be done on political party basis, where the PDP as a political party will come, where the Labour as a political party will come, where the NNPP as a political party will come, and they all sit together and say, yes, we just must do something about misgovernance that is going on in this country. Not a coalition based on individuals' ambition, but because Atiku must become the president, all his disciples should now come together and say, yes, we are forming a coalition. I don't see that as a coalition. So I still believe that all these political leaders, all these politicians must come together and see to how to push APC out of office. Because when you are talking of this government, in which parameter do you want to measure them that will now give them a pass mark? Is it on security? Is it on economy? Is it on welfare? Is it on corruption? I don't see them getting any good mark or good grades. Just this morning now, in Benue State, where the president ordered the IG and the GOC or whatever to ensure that nothing happens there, they still kill people overnight in Benue State. Is that not an indication that this government does not take seriously the safety of life and property of Nigeria, which is part of their constitutional duties? Where is the economy when the price of fuel is jumping from 1,000 to 940, 910 today? What are we doing when the government celebrates 30 kilometers out of 750 kilometers coastal road? Does that show any sign of seriousness?
Right.
So I don't agree that APC is doing well in the country. I believe there should be an alternative, but that alternative should be a conglomeration of political parties, not the coalition of Atiku disciples.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Diodemi. And we are wrapping up now. Thank you, Barrister and Prof. Barrister, you want to do the...
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So, before we allow you to go, we like to make people who honor us with their presence laugh as a therapy for the times. Although I am wondering how I am going to make a man caught in a war zone in Osho politics laugh. What is your preconcept in the circumstance? Or have you got your armor for the imminent implosion in that state? Or you feel no cause for alarm?
I understand you very well. and I'm happy that you are conversant with the politics of Osun State and Nigeria. You have coded your statement in such a way that I understand you very well.
Yeah.
Now, we have the people of Osun State as our armor. We believe in what we are doing as administration. We see us through. We are aware of the federal might, and it has even commenced now. As I'm talking to you, there is no local government operation. The local government allocation has been seized by the federal government. Even with court pronouncement, with the court judgment, they are choosing to obey whichever one they want to obey.
Right.
We are aware of that.
Right.
We are even aware of the fact that they are saying that after 6 months, They may declare a state of emergency because there's no local government administration.
Right. We have to go.
Where?
We have to go, Prince. We have to go. We have to go.
We leave everything to God and the people of Osun State.
Yes, thank you so much, Honorable John Day. I mean, thank you, Prof. Thank you, Barrister. Thank you, dear listener, for being a part of the show. Special thanks to my producer, Agbolabo Famous Cole. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Do have a great weekend. Join us again next Saturday at 9 a.m. Another edition